Welcome to Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle, where experts in the field inform, educate and inspire the community to be healthier, more balanced and live the lifestyle they love. Our first guest today, Michèle Wolff, is a naturopath, author and lecturer, and the topic we'll be discussing is constipation and other digestive health issues. Welcome, Michèle.
Thank you, Megan.
So, Michèle, constipation is a very common problem. Could you describe the cause of constipation?
Yeah, sure. There are several causes which are lifestyle causes because of the modern day lifestyle. The number one cause is a lack of water. So if you are somebody that has a very active lifestyle and you perspire a lot or you go in saunas, you're going to need more water than someone else. But the amount of water you need is also based on your body weight. It's also based on how much salt you have in your diet as well. But on average, if you times your body weight in kilograms by 33, you'll get the amount of mils of water that you should have. And best to have that water warm rather than cold. It hydrates better. So that would be the number one. The second would be lack of fibre in the diet. So a lot of us have junk food, more white products in the diet, more refined food, white rice rather than brown rice, and so on. So increasing your fibre through whole foods, so that would be more green leafy vegetables, whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, buckwheat. If you're someone that tolerates wheat, brown bread rather than white bread. And if there's still constipation, you can have fibres that are even more effective than that. So for example, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds a day and or a teaspoon of ground flax seeds or LSA a day. And the highest fibre out of any fruit is actually figs. And figs also contain a lot of calcium. So 1 to 2 figs a day can correct the problem. A breakfast that I would commonly prescribe is oat bran, which is very fibrous, mixed with hot water with some figs and some chia seeds and some LSA, and that's a really, really good fibre to get the bowel moving. If it's not resolved by that, then look at exercise. So we've become very sedentary in our lifestyle compared to how much we're supposed to move, and the body needs to move in order for the bowel to move. If you haven't got a certain period of time for normal exercise, then you can invest in like a small trampoline or a lymphosizer, it's often called. Bounce up and down while you're watching television. That's really good exercise for the gut. And the other thing I would say is that we're actually not designed to sit on the toilets in the position that we sit in. So in countries like Asia and in France, a lot of the toilets are holes in the ground, and the bottom part of your bowel opens right up when you're squatting. So there are several companies that have squatting stools that go around toilets that can make a considerable difference to constipation and easy passage from the bowel. After that, the next most important thing would be probiotics. So probiotics are often known as bifidus and lactobacillus as the main ones, but there are over 700 recorded species now. And they come from foods like plain yogurt. There's a Balkan drink called kefir, which has huge amounts of probiotics. That's readily available in health food shops, or you can make it yourself. And having foods like sauerkraut, so fermented cabbage as an example, small amounts with the meals. If you've addressed all of those and there's still constipation, then have a look at your stress levels. So that can have a big impact on the bowel with the mind-gut connection. So if you're holding on to emotions, often the bowel can hold on and you can be constipated. If you've got a lot of worry that's going over a period of time, that can often hold on the bowel. So there are specific lifestyle techniques that you can do to release that stress. If it's more complicated, you might want to see a professional counsellor or psychotherapist to help release that. And I would use specific herbs for the gut-brain connection and to relax the gut and calm the mind. So stress has quite a big impact, and quite a big impact. There can be more serious illnesses like hypothyroid that can cause.
What problems does constipation cause to the body?
So it can cause a lot of very uncomfortable symptoms. Bloating is a big one, which can be really uncomfortable for people. Sometimes it causes excessive gas. It causes a sluggishness, particularly in the brain, from the endotoxins going around in the body just not being cleared, and the pressure on the body. If you're very constipated, it also causes a lot of pressure on the heart, and it can make you feel quite unhappy and quite down if it goes on, both from the uncomfortable feeling and the toxins not being passed. So you've got an unhealthy fermentation that goes on in the gut. So, you know, every 24 to 48 hours, the food should be moving out of the gut. It's like a rubbish bin that needs to be moved out, not causing recirculating toxins and mind problems. It can also cause problems with sleep. So some people wake up in the night because their gut is uncomfortable. With some people, it can cause swollen glands because the fluids are just not moving through the body. And you'd be more prone to, like if you're somebody that suffers with eczema, for example, it will be worse when you're constipated because, because the toxins are not free flowing out of the body.
Do you have any tips for our viewers for some healthy eating?
Yeah, so there's lots of tips for healthy eating as far as constipation goes. So having enough fibre is very important. So always have your whole grains, so brown rice instead of white rice. Every grain you have a whole grain. Green leafy vegetables. Your 1 tablespoon of chia seeds a day can be amazing. A teaspoon of ground flax seeds a day. 1 to 2 figs a day. All these things move the bowel. And then have something in the diet that's got some culture in it that helps those good probiotics and those good prebiotics. So plain yogurt or kefir, which is actually a Balkan drink that has many times more good flora and fauna than plain yogurt. That's readily available from a health food shop, and it's spelt Kefir. And avoiding white foods and avoiding junk foods, avoiding fizzy drinks and drinks with colourings in, that all will help the gut and will help constipation.
Fantastic information, Michèle. If you'd like to know more about constipation and other digestive issues and Michèle Wolff, please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And after the break, we have another interesting guest with another interesting topic.
Stay tuned. After the break, health, life and love coach Heather Belle Murphy is talking about the secrets of long-lasting love. Welcome back. We are here with Heather Belle Murphy, a health, life and love coach, and today our topic is healthy eating for a healthy love life. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you, Kirsty.
Now, can you tell me how the two are connected?
Absolutely, love to. This probably relates more to women and to female clients that I've worked with previously, having worked in the area of self-love and, and a healthy weight for about the last 25 years. What I commonly find is women will think that they're not worthy of having a great relationship with themselves, and that of course includes food. It's not like a concept where we become, I would do anything for my children or the family and my significant others or my parents or my best friend or my sister, even the cat and the dog, but I don't have to worry about me because I'm going to be the well of sacrifice. And the funny thing is, or the irony there is, of course, that we really need to be the fountain of love. And a fountain self-waters in a way, and it's a really beautiful metaphor where we self-nurture and self-water and pay ourselves that respect. And this is what I really find with women and working with women in the dating sense as well, that we need to first love and respect ourselves. Now, this is a bit of the paradigm that we're in, that we've been in for the last couple of thousands of years, where we're seen as the other. And so we're not seen as the queen anymore, and we don't treat ourselves as the queen. Now, part of the whole picture about loving ourselves first and being worthy and respecting ourselves is that we look after ourselves. And into that whole puzzle is going to be the puzzle and the pieces of the puzzle around food, choosing healthy foods in healthy amounts and consuming, healthy portion sizes. And that will fit into our picture of how we look after ourselves. And then a funny thing to consider is, do we really want to take perhaps bad habits that we may have picked up when we were younger and our metabolisms are a bit faster? Are those habits going to serve us going into our greater selves? Because we're only 20 for 5 minutes, let's face it. The majority of our healthy life is going to be around fitting in with families and, working healthily at a career. That's the big part. The teenage fun years and the 20s, they don't last forever. Let's look at those future selves that we're going to take into most likely, say, committed long-term relationships. And so it's a really great thing to be thinking about the healthy habits that you adopt then.
Heather, what is healthy eating?
You're probably aware that diet has changed and nutritional advice has changed a great deal in the last, say, 25 years. Now, that's because in the last 20 years, with the rise of quantum medicine, science and research into nutrition can now look at the subcellular level. So now we have a much better understanding of how things like sugar and fats are metabolized in our actual cells themselves. So that's had a massive consequence for those high carb diets of the 90s, to which I was a victim of. So back in the day, I ate a lot of grains. We now know that a high grain diet is quite inflammation making. I was always hungry because it was upsetting my blood sugar levels. So I don't instruct clients to eliminate carbs, of course, but carbs and grains in my diet is a much less of a feature than once upon a time, and it's also going to depend on body type. But as a rule of thumb, if we can stick to things like, I like to say to clients, think of your stomach as being 3 fist sizes. So if you eat that much at a time, you're reserving a third of your stomach to actually move the food around and to digest it. So, that's a smallish portion size for a lot of people, and it does shock people. Now, of course, if you've got a big day or, you're running a marathon, that's obviously going to change. But we know overall people are consuming too much food, and they're often consuming the wrong types, which means not eating food that comes with a skin. It tends to come out of a packet. And everything pretty much that comes in a packet has been altered and interfered with, and it's had added, generally sugar or fat added to it. And so that's a thing to watch, instead of eating food in its natural state, in the right quantities, at the right time, in the right way.
Do you have any tips for our audience?
I do. A lot has changed from that eating that where people have to eat 3 square meals a day. I would say find a mentor, even if that's via social media, that you would like to emulate. Obviously, though, just be aware of keeping it real. We've all seen the social influencers who were sort of about 20, and it's very easy to look fabulous when you're in your 20s. So look for somebody who's perhaps around your age group, your kind of body shape, because of course we all know there are examples where women are trying to starve themselves into shapes or, impossibly impossible kind of supermodel kind of things, you know. And then we also realise that no matter how much, for example, Jennifer Aniston works out, you know, she still wears a lot of makeup, has a lot of spray tan, and then there's photoshopping that goes into that as well. So find somebody, perhaps your age group, your kind of body type, but then also somebody that you may wish to look like or emulate, that carries you into your best future self, by obviously adopting better habits and making healthier choices.
Thank you, Heather. That was fantastic. If you want more information on Heather Belle Murphy and healthy eating for a healthy love life, go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au, and we'll be right back after this break with another fantastic guest and fascinating topic.
Stay tuned. After the break, urban food specialist Marc Noyce will be talking about how to create your own urban edible garden. Welcome back. Our next guest is urban food specialist Marc Noyce, and the topic we're here to discuss today is how to create your own edible garden. Welcome, Marc.
Hi Megan, thanks for having me.
So Marc, what are some of the challenges we face in creating our own edible garden?
I grew up on a market garden myself, and I had broadacre farming. I had all the farming tools associated with a big urban farm, and it took a lot of work. But I tell you, when you get into our urban environment where there's a concrete jungle, it's that much harder again to grow your own food at home. So some of the challenges are having the right space, having the right aspects so that you get the right light onto your plants, because, you know, let's face it, some plants need a lot more light than others. Lettuce might only need 4 to 5 hours a day, whereas tomatoes and some other sun-loving plants need up to 10 hours a day of sunlight, so they need to be in full sun. So that's a challenge, getting the light and the aspect right, getting your nutrition right for your plants, getting the right nutrients in there, getting a high quality compost or a high quality potting mix. That's very important as well, to keep that nutrition up to feed the plants. We all like to get fed well, so do our plants, and they need to get fed well too, to get the best out of them. Another very important thing to remember is having access to water. Plants like water access all the time. If a plant doesn't get, and especially vegetables, if a plant doesn't get what they need in terms of water access, they go, I'm not going to be around here much longer, so I'm going to go to seed. I'm going to fulfill my life's mission, and I'm going to just go to seed. And we call that bolting, when a vegetable doesn't like its water environment. It gets too stressed. It releases a little hormone that says, hey, go to seed. So getting that water right for your plants, you can either be out there watering all day, you can be out there watering morning, noon and night just to keep that optimal water up to your plants, or you can set your garden up much easier with wicking garden beds, for example.
Marc, what are the benefits of having an edible garden?
The benefits are just enormous in terms of your mental health, in terms of your physical nutrition, in terms of you connecting with your friends and family and your community. So let's have a look at those aspects of an urban edible garden. I love going out to my own garden and knowing where my food comes from, looking at these plants and watching them grow and being part of that, and then understanding exactly what I put into those plants so that I know that I'm getting really fresh, organic produce that is just tasty and nutritious and just fantastic to eat. The benefits also getting involved in knowing where your food comes from, and also communicating with your friends and family that maybe you haven't seen for a while. So let's grow some beetroots. Grow some beetroots and then make some beetroot relish, and in a very small place you can grow 3 kilos of beetroot in 2 months in half a square metre, make a relish that can go to 5 or 6 people in your family. And your friends, will love you. And not only that, you're getting so much satisfaction out of growing your own food. You're getting a lot of satisfaction about getting in contact with people that you might not have seen for a while, and you're starting that conversation again. You're increasing your mental health, you're helping others, and then you can give back something to your community as well. On a broader scale, you can grow food for your neighbours, you can get people involved into a community garden, and you can just have an enormous uplifting of self-confidence and community confidence about closing your nutrient loops, reusing water for food, and I'm just rambling on, I shouldn't have said that.
Marc, can I grow the same plant over and over again?
Well, you can, but if you don't do certain things to keep ensuring that the potting mix is fresh, if you don't remove the biomass that's, the root systems, the stem of the plant, for example, you can't just keep planting in the same spot all the time. It's gardening 101. You look at our farmers turn over the soil and they recompost and they re-add nutrient, and they just make sure that the growing media is fresh and optimal after every season that the vegetables come out of. We've got to do the same for our own environment, our own containerised growing in urban environments. So yes, you can, but if you don't refresh your potting mix, if you don't deal with the biomass that's created when a vegetable puts its tremendous root systems down, then you're not going to get the best out of it. And some plants really suck the nutrient out of potting mix. And let's face it, what a plant is doing is it's taking that energy that's in the potting mix and they're converting it into biomass and something yummy that we like to eat. So it's just a big energy transfer. So when that vegetable's done, we've got to put more energy back into the soil. And that's through refreshing the compost, refreshing the potting mix with either nutrient, soluble fertiliser, or some of our green waste. We can actually put our green waste back into the soil to grow more nutritious food.
That's fantastic. So Marc, what's some advice you've got for our audience in creating their own edible garden?
My advice would be to think about what you're going to grow. Think about where you're going to grow it. Think about what you're going to grow it in, and then make a plan. We need to also think about how we're going to manage our vegetable garden, edibles, by getting the right sunlight, getting the right aspect, protecting them from bugs with either netting, protecting them from really harsh conditions like wind through netting and shade cloth, and thinking about crop rotation, thinking about what am I going to plant in the potting mix after my tomatoes come out, and maybe you put onions in there, and then you swap that over after you've reset your nutrition in your potting mix.
Wow, that's fantastic. Thanks so much for that great information, Marc. If you'd like to know more about Marc Noyce and how to create your own edible garden, please go to his webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And that's all for us today, so we'll say bye-bye for now, and we'll see you next week.
If you'd like to know more about our show, please like our Facebook page and subscribe to our YouTube channel.